later on in the game, because for him to sit there and get enough autos off against a lot of AoE from G2 is going to be a problem. But a lot of it's going to come down to caps, honestly, with Shockwave, because you have so many squishy members on the side of G2. I think G2's comp, like, I like Ivern with very strong lanes that has damage, because he doesn't offer the damage, especially later on. So now, like, Ivern with a tank means that sometimes if your mid laner falls or AD carry falls behind, you have no damage. This case here, you have enough on G2's side. So I think Ivern makes a lot of sense here, but he's also a product of a lot of jungle bans.
Lot of jungle bans. Focus on that role, pinching it again on the side of Fnatic. How is Ivern going to impact the early game, Deficio? It is the first Ivern of the 2017 season worldwide. No LCK, no LPL. Hey, he's good enough for you.
Good enough for you after a lot of jungle bans, for sure. I mean, I think he can be okay, but early game, traditionally, you see they prepare 2 camps, like a red buff or blue buff and 1 extra camp, and then invade the enemy buff and smite it away, level 1. But that can be spotted by wards and is a little bit predictable. So that is the full clear, get level 4, and then go for a gank instead. We can see what he's doing in game.
All right, friend of the forest. Let's see how efficiently Trick can clear out that jungle. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the best of 3s for spring 2017, it's Ivern and G2 taking on Fnatic.
All right, Trevor.
Deficio, that's how you run. I've seen it. I've seen you running around the office, and you look just like Ivern.
You know what? That's a compliment, because that is some swagger walk he has. Early invade, and now we see the same play from Fnatic. Fans going ham. He checked
Volley
it.
tags 2. Doesn't look like any CC is going to come out.
Last game where Source had the Nautilus and he tried to hook through the bush. Didn't try with the taunt.
No, not this time round.
But it's the same setup. It's like you have Zyra, you want to get her in the lane so she can get the seeds in, and you want to see if you can maybe force a flash or get a first blood. So let's see Trick here. I see so often Iverns who prepare red buff and Raptor camp, and then they walk in level 1 still, because obviously you can't take them instantly unless you smite, and you just instantly smite away the enemy blue buff, and then you walk back and grab your camps. And then you go up to top side, set up your 3 camps on top, and then walk into enemy jungle to find a Raptor camp, and go back then and take your camps again. So let's see what he's doing.
You've given me a lot of steps to try follow. We'll see what Trick decides to do. There's a lot of hype around Ivern at the end of 2016, and then some changes.
Can still just go to his own blue buff as well once he preps this one. Let's see what he decides to do. No, it is going to be the red buff one.
Okay.
Now,
so are we expecting him to go to Amazing's blue?
Yes.
There's no vision, there's no response here from Fnatic.
He's on his way. He's running. Or whatever you call that.
Waddling. Let's go with waddling.
Now, Amazing knows this is very likely to happen. Like, this is not something new. But what you can do is you can just queue over the wall as Ivern. Now, we didn't get to see it, but he did actually do it on the minimap. And then you just smite it and take it. And Amazing is just slightly too late to try and stop it.
Too quick.
He got a pull from Soas to try and rush down and stop the blue buff. But this is the very traditional Ivern style. Because now you grab your 2 camps. And then you go to top side and you set up blue buff, wolf camp, and grump. And then you can try and invade enemy jungle again.
Okay, Deficio, you covered you've covered the pathing of what Trick is going to be doing on this Ivern. But then what happens next? Which lane is he going to be most likely to gank?
Well, if you look at the lanes, mid lane is definitely open. You have stun from Syndra, and you have no cleanse from Caps. Ooh. And he's going to be on the top side of the map because he's setting up the top camps here. So that is definitely open. Top lane is impossible to gank at the moment because Soas is obviously pushed on the tower, as we talked about in the pick and ban phase. So he's setting up 2 camps, and he might just yodel into the Raptor camp now and try and take them away from Amazing.
All right, Amazing is going to try to set something up in the mid lane. Trick is in the area. This is a 2-on-2. Look for the skill shots. Root Caller looking for a target. Perks is going to jump forward, gets the stun. Caps is in trouble, gets a very big command protect, throws down the ghost. Command attack into dissonance. Now Caps, Amazing, they're looking for Trick. Trick's running for his life. Not going to get more. Caps turns his attention to Perks. Perks has run out of mana, can't continue the trade. Nobody dies in game 3.
So Trick favors the gank and also to be here for Perks in case Amazing is trying to gank him. So far, predictions were correct with the mid lane focus. But some of Ivern problems, his problems is obviously his skirmish damage is not the greatest. He needs level 6 to get Daisy, and he becomes very, very strong. But for now, he's just trying to out-level Amazing.
Manages to tag him. Also important to note, Deficio, that the first dragon in our deciding game is an Infernal Drake. That is the first of this series as well.
Oh, it is. We got Ocean, Cloud.
So that also impacts some of the decision making. Right, who's going to push that up? Right, Reckless and Jesus, they continue to push in this bottom lane. Sven and Mithy, we saw them trading very aggressively a minute or two ago. Up in the top lane, Soaz has been fortunate enough to push the wave back towards Expect. And those are a brief TLDR of the side lanes. Caps, injured, lost a lot of CS because of that extended trade, because of the extended fight and gank. And of course, he was the first to recall, picking up the refillable potion and those second door and ring.
And whenever you have smite on Ivern, you really want to get into the enemy jungle and see if you can find a camp and just instantly smite it and take it. Seeing as it is very safe counter ganking, and obviously taking away these camps that have longer respawn time is very valuable in the current meta. We'll just say hello to his friend, the Rift Scuttler. Smites that one instead, because he couldn't find anything else. But Ivern, now that he's sitting here chilling, he's getting towards his level 6. Daisy's gonna be strong for him in skirmishes, and then later on, Redemption, Locket, these items that comes in, that's gonna be the tankiness for G2, because there's no other tank on this team.
Absolutely is not, but it does a lot of damage. So Taunt lands from Soaz, Expect looking to get away, flashes out, although amazing. That's a lot of damage, connects with a Sonic Wave, flash forward from Soaz, Expects overheating, goes under the tower, not dead yet, the shield finally burned through. Trick turns his attention though, Amazing gets rooted into place, Trick bursts the shield, not going to be able to get to the blast cone, pops it, there's no damage, Ivern does not hurt, looking for the shield, boom, Trick gets the reply.
What a way to die, Ivern takes forever to kill you. But he does get the return kill. This is one of the things, always against Rumble, he likes to push, and he's very easy to gank.
Wow.
So good gank here from Fnatic, and focus on top side from them, but a slow early game so far. Trick just wants to get that level 6 as fast as possible, but he is out-leveling Amazing right now. Really good for him to pick up that kill. He actually does have smite, but he goes for the gank first, and then he can take a camp after.
Okay, no stun connects from Perks. Flash and Ghost available from Caps. Defensive flash from Perks to get away to safety in Caps.
Yeah, and that's just not good enough from Perks. It's just not good enough. Yes, you missed the first stun. That's it. Gank is over. Like, you're not gonna then suddenly chase him down, because Caps knew he could just turn around, and there was really no threat of him dying.
Very greedy. Trick has a shield at least, with a trigger seed if needed. Perks was greedy in game 1. Okay, that was what actually cost him a summoner spell, and here's a glimpse of the first blood.
Nothing special really to say. Ganking a Rumble, super standard. Expect trying to get into the minion wave here. Does get blocked slightly. And then actually stays alive for long enough with the potion ticking. That Amazing ends up coming in. And key thing is Trick getting the blast cone down.
So I think that's probably what, close to around 10, maybe 12 seconds of combat to deal 300 damage.
Yeah, but now he has Daisy.
Okay.
So he's ready to fight.
My favorite thing about that spell name is there's an exclamation mark at the end of the name. So you have to say it with power.
You have to yell it.
It's not just like, it's Daisy, it's Daisy! All right, you have to say it that way, so we'll...
Now, the thing about Ivern here, I talked about Korea not liking it too much, and obviously a lot of it comes down to like very specific comps you need to run to really make him work. His risky early start with like his skirmish not being the strongest.
Is this the comp that can work with Ivern?
I definitely think a comp with strong lanes and a lot of damage is where he does excel, for sure. And he adds that tankiness through items with Locket and Redemption that the team can use.
A little bit of a trade here between Perks and Amazing. Support coming in from Trick. Stun goes down. Caps has access to his shockwave, waiting to pull the trigger. Daisy gets dropped. Perks is pulled backwards. Soaz lands, and Fnatic gets another kill. Daisy lands a wallop onto Caps, but it does not matter.
Now, G2, they knew as soon as they were collapsed on here, they couldn't kill anyone because of Shen ulti. Perks end up walking down and just getting caught without the flash that he, funny enough, had to use when he failed that gank setup earlier in the game. And these kind of mistakes, they always snowball. It always gets worse. Because then suddenly Orianna can threaten the shockwave, and Perks end up going down here. And Trick loses his red buff.
Whoop. Amazing, gets tagged. Trick can't go through the wall. Flash though. Oh, that was amazing. Dragon's Rage gets rid of Trick, and the blast cone sends Amazing to safety. And we talked about some of the jungle picks that Amazing could have opted into. Is Lee Sin, 8 minutes, 2 kills on the board.
Yep.
Showing some proficiency here. It's a comfort pick in the series.
Exactly. It's very clearly been his preferred jungle in Scrim, seeing as he's picking it so often here. And obviously Rengar is perm banned, no real big surprise. Very important for Fnatic though is that Caps is doing well again, because we mentioned like with the cannon, against the amount of CC from G2, how difficult it can be for Reckless to sit there and get enough auto attacks off with this Blade of the Rune King he's going for. Source is not going to add late game damage.
Yeah.
Amazing's late game damage has been nerfed as well. So a lot of it's going to come down to Caps, trying to find 1 or 2 squishy members. So him getting a good early start is very important for Fnatic.
Well, the team has relied on Caps throughout the series.
This is a good setup because he can just shockwave Perks if he ever gets too close, and then he will die because the rest of Fnatic is already here.
Redemption has been picked up by Trick already. Equalizer's available for Expect. He's going to get thrown down onto Caps. Perks is in trouble. Redemption already dropped. Flash in from Reckless. They've shut down Perks. Support coming in from Trick. Not going to get knocked up by the Stranglethorns, and Fnatic, 3rd kill of the game, maintain a 1,000 gold lead.
And this was actually both teams trying to bait. Caps was trying to bait Perks to step forward so he could shockwave him, and Perks was trying to buy time for Expect to roam down and see if they could one-shot Caps. In the end, the heal came in, saved the Orianna. Fnatic with another kill. Another assist for the Orianna that we're looking so much at.
Ultimate's available for Sven and Mithy. And it looked like some support coming down the bottom lane. Trick doesn't have access to Redemption. He used it in that mid lane fight just a moment or 2 ago. It's not exactly the strongest of diving champions.
Well, you say that. Daisy is fantastic at diving.
See though, no minion lane, no minion wave to work with. Didn't last the longest, I'm afraid.
You kind of need your minions and your team there. Daisy's not a monster.
All right, bullet time comes out. That tags up Jez. It's Amazing caught by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and Caps now making his way down the river.
Yeah, it's really hard for G2 to properly execute like a dive like this because Orianna can roam first. So you just saw Caps walk straight down river. Doesn't have to take any longer routes or anything. So very easy for him to just walk down and force G2 to back away. Just due to the threat of a 4v3. And there's Shen ulti available. There's TP from him. So Fnatic can really look to actually try and start forcing plays, but they are losing the bottom side. And we talked about this in the pick and ban phase. The MF coming against Zyra and the Ashe being picked early. Super powerful for G2.
And it allows Tower First Blood to be picked up, so that gold lead evened out now by G2. CS is very close across the board with the exception of mid lane. 20 difference in favor of Caps thanks to repeated ganks, you know, from Fnatic. There's been support coming up, there was an extended fight. Reckless jumped in as well, got himself a kill.
It really is a problem though for Fnatic with the bot lane picks, that G2 have been able to target that bot lane in the pick and ban phase every single game. Been 2 Ezreal games where after the first few levels, Reckless would then lose pressure and couldn't really do that much in the laning phase. He got that 1 kill though last game, which was good. And now here with the cannon coming in, Caitlyn, not a great matchup against Ashe, so he didn't want to go for that one. A lot of AD carry bans. It's again what you can do in this pick and ban phase. And this cannon so far is definitely not doing a whole lot. Obviously wants to get Hurricane and Blade of the Rune King, and then enter a fight.
But to be fair, on the reverse side, while Fnatic are suffering in that role, they target ban the jungle, and Trick is down 15 CS. Yes, he does have a kill to his name, but there was so much pressure on that jungle pool.
Well, we also have to remember that with the new jungle, the CS can sometimes trick us.
Be misleading.
There's so many small things you can get, like if the Amazing's been doing Crooks like twice or whatever, he gets a lot of small CS from that. So the gold difference.
Currently at 300 gold
yeah,
between the 2 lanes, and we'll continue discussing the jungle in a moment. Sven, Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out. Caps sidesteps and dodges literally everything. Ghosts and flashes, doesn't even get stunned. Caps gets away from everything and golf claps from the crowd. G2, don't make it stick. Fnatic now have a reprieve, you know? No ultimates from Sven and Perks to worry about for a few minutes.
Very true. Caps stepping in, there's the shockwave, but this time there's no one to really follow.
Right.
Still the correct play from G2, despite the execution not being the greatest. Push out bot lane, So you can leave with Sven and Mithy. Now you can go back to bot lane and grab the wave. Fnatic is pushed back towards you, which is what Sven is doing now. Maximize farm that way. You're not really losing any CS and you're trying to impact the map. Sadly, they couldn't first use one of the spells to then get the flash and then follow up with the other CC spell, like either the knockback from a Zyra or the arrow from the Ashe, and they don't get a kill.
Full level difference between Caps and Perks at the moment, including the CS difference. Sven doing a good job farming up towards that Essence Reaver. 150 to the 135 of Reckless. Reckless still working on that Blade of the Rune King as well.
And you talked about the jungle matchup before, like between Lee Sin and Ivern, I'll take the Ivern late game because not only is he super annoying to deal with because Daisy is so strong, you don't want to invest so much damage on trying to kill the Daisy.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you get these items that just benefit your team so much because Locket, even if he goes Athenes in this game to just further add sustain, it's not everyone doing it, but he can do that. And then suddenly, while you think it's a lot of squishy members, they actually become much harder to kill. We just have to see.
All right, Expect gets jumped on by Caps here. Shockwave gonna be available in a second. Expect flashes forward, but misses so many skill shots. Shockwave's gonna come up, stand united. The stun onto Caps. Shockwave pulls him backwards. It's G2 that get the kill. They will trade 1-for-1 as Soaz looks to flash forward, throws out that Vorpal Blade and trades back. While all that was going on, looking at the bottom lane, Sven blew both of his summoner spells. He got jumped on. And now all of a sudden, G2, they're sieging up the mid lane. They got the tower first blood already. Daisy helping deal with Fnatic.
And amazing is taking Infernal Drake at the moment. He finally finished it now. Once again, the play from Expect is actually not a bad play at all because he knew he could try and burst down Caps before Shen would show up, but because he missed some of the skill shots, he didn't have enough damage, and then suddenly Source shows up and returns the favor.
All right, we need to take a review then of what's happened here. So they traded kill for kill.
Kill for kill, Infernal Drake for Fnatic. All right, let's see it again. So he knows there's no flash for Caps here. He flashes in, doesn't get him, and okay, it's just Reckless moving up behind Sven. And now it's just in time for Source to show up. We're talking like half a second right there.
If a skill shot on Equalizer had been more effective.
Exactly. Then suddenly Source does not show up. It's a kill for G2, but ends up being the 1-for-1.
All right, so we've started game 3 of this series as game 2 ended. Trading blow for blow. Some interesting decisions and calls.
Well, I think a lot of the calls have been correct, but some of the execution hasn't really been there on all the calls.
Now we need to see whether or not things can get cleaned up. G2
but this
gonna take their second tower of the game, uncontested from Fnatic.
And I know Shen has added value with his ulti, but like blind picking Shen is still so risky. Cap's getting hit.
Yeah, lands a very good shockwave though. Bullet time comes up. Cap still forced away. That shockwave bought enough time. Cleared out some of the minions as well, and the mid-outer turret remains standing.
And now we can see Expectus roam from top lane. As it is said before, blind picking that Shen opens up for certain counters. Rumble has been able to just freely hit this tower for the entire game, and now he can roam down after pushing out the wave, and suddenly this mid-game team fight from G2 with Syndra and Rumble ulti is super, super dead.
Let's keep track of where the Equalizer goes if Expect uses it. Reckless left the bottom lane, pushing up, has that Blade of the Rune King completed and a couple of attack speed daggers, going to return to taking out Fnatic's first tower. Securing a first tower for Fnatic. There's a better way of saying that. And of course that is because G2 committed to the mid lane. It didn't work out. They weren't able to push the wave in quickly enough. And we stay at a close game with Fnatic now returning the siege to Perks. No mana for Perks, so wave clear is reduced.
And Perks has been sitting around mid lane without mana for quite a long time, which is one of the reasons G2 couldn't really execute on that roam from Expect down towards his mid tower. We just saw it before because there just wasn't enough mana or summoners for Perks when they actually did arrow Caps. Perks tried to get in range, but was just slightly out. And that means Fnatic gets to defend and keep the gold even.
Yeah, Perks and Caps are sitting a lot of cash. 1,900 gold each because of this extended sort of siege in the middle lane. It does appear to be broken temporarily as both teams back away. Expect shoves out the top lane, and we get that reset that is so common in the mid game as we're getting close to 20 minutes. The next dragon will be Cloud. It's going to be a few minutes away. And Soaz with teleport and stand united, he's just split pushing. So, Deficio, Fnatic and G2 both have got some interesting team comps as the game plays out. I need to track how effective Reckless will be. Whether or not that ultimate can be game-changing if he can survive long enough in the face of Rumble, Syndra, and Ashe, I mean, it's so risky.
Yeah, that's the big question. Like, his ulti will, his ulti will not be that effective because he's AD cannon. You know, it's really not going to do a whole lot.
It's going to be defensive,
It's
right?
a bit of defensive CC, and that's about it. Like, the main thing for him is literally just landing auto attacks with Hurricane and the Blade King onto like 2 or 3 members at a time. But obviously, he's not dealing with like this massive, super HP stacking mega tank. It is Ivern, who gets quite a lot of HP on its own, but he's really the only one. And he's okay sitting in the front line, taking some of that damage.
Yeah, I mean, the shield, it's 5-second cooldown at the moment. We'll touch on that in a moment. Sven gets kicked backwards by that Dragon's Rage. Amazing, looking to assassinate, but couldn't make it stick.
I think the key thing is just how explosive the fights will be, because there's so much damage on G2's side, and later on in the game, when Zyra gets damage as well, Fnatic can return some of that. But Reckless has just been sitting in side lane, pushing in. Sven does not want to deal with him 1v1 at the moment, now that Blade King was completed. And it's actually been very effective outside of the laning phase, with Fnatic and Reckless just sitting and split pushing and getting 2 towers now.
Well, Stranglethorns equals Flash for Mithy. Easy enough target. Fnatic also get the tower, so even that one out at 2-2. As far as vision is concerned, G2 have got a couple of control wards in the river around that Cloud Drake, and it feels like if they want to prioritize it, setting up vision will be the next step.
Yeah, that was the early steps for Fnatic here and how they could use the cannon to get the 2 outer turrets in top and bot lane. Doesn't work the same in mid. Kennen is not a champion who's sieging that effectively, mainly also due to his range. And that means now we will get the big team fights. And that's going to be the next thing. Fnatic could get some gold from towers with Reckless, but now he has to enter fights.
Yeah.
He can no longer just sit in side lane.
Sorry, he's getting burned down by that Liandry's Torment.
You might try, actually, because now G2 just messed up the push in mid. But they go for another one.
They are indeed. Shockwave pulls Mithy in spin, flash forward from Caps, but he gets stunned. Trading mid lane for support. Tower falls as well. Daisy was tanking for days. Reckless getting some damage onto this top inner turret, but G2 are peeling back for him. Lightning Rush to get some distance. Crystal Arrow, I think it was fired. Sidestepped by Reckless.
Ooh,
he's in trouble now. Turns his attention. Amazing jumps onto Trick. Daisy coming up. Jez is looking to support. Reckless not going to be able to get the kill onto Sven. Stand United delivered Soaz as well. So chaos everywhere. Jump back to the river. The fight's not done. Now Perkz is in from behind. Expects burning down Reckless and Soaz. Perkz gets stunned up by Kennen. Down in the background, Ivan's drop. Trick is killed. And Reckless gets another. Fnatic running circles around G2.
Yeah, really fun to watch how Reckless was actually moving down to join his team, but then realized G2 were not able to get the tower on the first push, so he had time to go back and stay in the side lane. And he knows if anyone tries to 1v1 him, Shen joins, and it becomes a 2v1 for Fnatic. So that's why Sven is never in the same lane trying to deal with Reckless, because he just can't due to Shen ulti. So in the end, after G2 got the mid tower, because Reckless went back to top by good individual decision from him, he ended up getting more damage on top and kills a nice shockwave.
Oh my word, look at that damage. Redemption won't even impact. Perkz manages to get one back because the Redemption did help in the end. But tower and multiple kills to Fnatic. Expect burns down Caps. The equalizer takes him out. Reckless lightning rushes up. He's got no flash to escape. Soaz taunts up Expect, but the flame spitter's burning down Soaz. Reckless gets tagged again. 160 on the crit. Daisy trying to damage Reckless on the back line. There goes Amazing, follows a Sonic Wave. Expect flashes defensively. Sven's still alive. Soaz taunts up Sven. Now Soaz is turning away. Brushmaker to buy some time. The shield comes back up. Volley, unable to get the kill. And it's Fnatic. They end up trading a 2-for-1 at the end of it.
Everyone is so low, and Reckless is doing a great job at just staying in the back, constantly moving and hitting, moving and hitting. He has so much attack speed. He's able to do it. This is again why Sven can't sit in the side lane, because it's just ulti from the Shen with the cannon. Trick got caught here behind enemy lines. And while he dies, we see actually Reckless just to the left here. He enters the screen with Expect and takes him down. Also using that very, very nice heal from Warlords.
Fisher, very chaotic game so far. As Reckless, 3-0, plus 30 CS. Got those 2 core items you talked about. Caps has had some pretty good shockwaves already, catching out key members of G2. And it feels like Fnatic are now in control. It's not a big lead, it's not absolute, but they're dictating the tempo.
Right, but again now, like, if we go back to the point we made before these fights broke out, was that Fnatic got those auto turrets in the side lanes that Kennen can easily access. It's hard for Kennen to continue now just pushing all the way down for another tower, simply because G2 does have engage on Ash to try and force in the mid lane against Caps. And then now, 24 minutes into the game, if you create one pick as G2, you go Baron. So it's no longer just, oh, we just lost one guy, it's fine, I'm buying time in side lane. It's actually, oh, now we have to fight for Baron. So Reckless will, at some point, be drawn into a team fight. It's good that he continues to put pressure because he has the Shen ulti. But then G2 now should be able to look for a pick. And if they get it, especially against the no-flash Zyra and the no-flash Orianna,
No flash Reckless too.
then Reckless can't continue pushing.
They need to get the pick before Soaz can arrive.
Oh, they're going for Baron, actually.
Sunfire
They're TPing in. They're baiting this. Caps is sitting mid lane, and Amazing is showing near mid as well. But there's a ward from Mithy.
Fnatic are spotted out. I don't think they know this just yet. Here comes Perk, throwing down the orbs. No stun connects yet, but Reckless is tagged up by the Crystal Arrow. Daisy, thrown down by Trick, but not engaged with. Expect no teleport available, and Soaz blew his TP for that play. And unfortunately, there was a ward in the pit.
He is Shen, though. Has another global, so he doesn't actually need the teleport specifically. And now we see Reckless return, because at this point, Fnatic have pushed G2 so far back on the map that Reckless is free to go wherever he wants. That means he can keep pushing out the wave and then potentially roam towards the mid lane and join a fight.
It's Officio. Fnatic are extending this lead and forcing G2 to respond. There's no Crystal Arrow available, and Fnatic are grouped up around the Baron pit. Caps gets tagged by the Equalizer. Jesus uses a very good Stranglethorns.
Yeah, all G2 were looking for there was the flash from Caps, because again, we go back to then the same point of how hard it is for Fnatic to defend the mid lane when Reckless is trying to split push. And that is G2's answer to this Kennen here. It's not to target the Kennen specifically, it's to target everyone else and force Kennen to come in and help.
Tension is building. We're over 25 minutes. Items continuing to spike up. 2 items for Expect. Essence Reaver, Hurricane for Sven. The Hex Drink has been with Reckless for a few minutes. He's
spotted
working
by that
towards
one.
upgrading, and Fnatic have got control of these side lanes, and G2, yes, they were able to thwart that Baron attempt and the Baron play, but they need to try find a way to get control of Reckless in these side lanes or prevent it.
Exactly, like it is supposed to look this way, where Fnatic is controlling side lanes. They have Shen in one lane, they have, of course, Kennen in the other one, because G2's comp just wants to team fight so badly. They want to move, Expect in with the team, land a great ulti, and someone like Caps right now, and he's gonna die almost no matter what. But it's this constant game where if the engage from G2 fails, Fnatic suddenly gets like a tower in the side lane and maybe even an attempt at Baron. So G2 they have to be very careful with how they're doing this. But if they do manage to land it, especially on Caps, that can be enough for them to stop the entire split push, get a kill, and potentially a fight around Baron.
Stepping back, the dance once again continues. This time Reckless is going to be holding hands with Soaz. It's a double ninja duo towards the bottom lane. Expect has TP available. Could be at risk of being dove here if Soaz decides to taunt him up under the tower. Doesn't even need to. Flash over the wall for Reckless. The stun from the slicing Maelstrom. A lot of damage coming down. Expect overheats. No Equalizer available. Reckless tanked a lot of shots, but they get the kill. This should open up a lot of damage on that tower.
Exactly now. Reckless playing this game so well, honestly. He's so creative in his pathing, and suddenly he just appears in the bottom lane. No one from G2 expected it. They're trying to catch Amazing.
Yeah, what cost though? Soaz gets the flash from Trick. Doesn't connect with a stun though. Minion is thrown forward. Daisy still tanking up a lot. Here comes Cap from the sideline. Shockwave gonna be used. Pulls Trick backwards. Trigger Seed buys a little bit of time, but Fnatic get another kill. Amazing survives thanks to the Stand United. And Fnatic now back away. G2 lose 2. And Fnatic, they're peeling towards the river.
Yeah, Baron is too risky, honestly. Amazing is low, and Expect is back up here in 2 seconds. They did get the bot lane tower though. All credit to Reckless and Soaz and this almost old school Fnatic play where they're just constantly moving around the map, and it's so annoying to play against. Because you just don't know where the Kennen shows up. Like, you're trying to say like, maybe he comes in for this team fight, and then suddenly he shows up in the bot lane. Expect, sadly for him, couldn't get the ulti down, which would have been very key in getting multiple Fnatic members low. But yeah, Reckless is coming out of nowhere. There's 0 wards in this bot side jungle, because they've been playing around top side for the last 3-4 minutes. So he just comes out of nowhere, surprising them, and G2 tries to get some kills in return. Ends up overextending though.
Yeah, that overheat on the W.
Yeah, that one was never gonna work.
No.
Not really sure what they are actually trying to do.
Good reactive flash there from Trick at least, and down below Trick, Caps comes up to close it out. At this stage, it's like shooting fish in a barrel for Fnatic. G2 are completely spread apart, and they can't mount a proper defense because they want to group, they want to team fight, not skirmish.
And again, while it's fantastic Fnatic are getting all these outer turrets, they need that Baron to really finish the game. And now G2 is basically saying, we're going to force a fight here. We want to team fight you. We have ultis. Perkz just used his to try and poke down Jessis.
Jesus survived though, stun onto Caps, Ash arrow into Caps,
There it is!
Equalizers burned it down! Baron is being shredded, down to 3,000 HP, Fnatic's now somewhat thwarted, amazing, Smite's not available, it's on cooldown for a few more seconds, 2,400 HP, tagged to the Sonic Wave, Smite is up, amazing, can use it, not gonna get in the pit just yet, and Baron is picked up by G2!
And that was the opening for G2, just force a play around Baron, so Fnatic has to come and fight you. Perkz used very early ulti on Jessis to force him out of the fight. And then Caps had no flash. Arrow into that Rumble ulti we talked about, and there's really nothing you can do at that point as a mid laner.
Just like that, Fnatic held control for 10 minutes. And it's somewhat undone. You know, good play from G2 to use their comp effectively.
And again, it's what we kept talking about, how hard it is to... You can't win the game just through pure split pushing in professional play anymore, like unless you have like this sick split pushing comp, but most of the time it's get the outer turrets and then try and force an advantage fight, a big fight around Baron. But this is just G2 forcing a fight, telling Fnatic, you know what, you don't want to team fight us? Well, you have to now, and Caps dies.
Ended up securing the Baron for G2. Just great layering of CC, and Deficio, you know, you kept talking about how the split push, how difficult it is to win with. Rekkles has picked up over 180 CS between 15 and 30 minutes. The average amount of CS for an 80 carry in that time frame is 135. Significant number of CS more, but that was the game plan Fnatic opted into.
Yeah, and he's done his job.
Yes.
Like, he's actually played it really well. Whenever he's been attacked, he's been able to kind of maneuver backwards, even get a kill or two. He set up that play in the bot lane, he's getting out of turrets. It's just a limit on how much else he can do as a cannon, as a split pusher. He needs to enter a fight, and that's what G2 knows. They know what's going to happen.
Jesus is stunned. He's going to go down most likely. Stand United, though, bought enough time for a fight to break out. They've traded Perkz' life for Jez's. Amazing is trying to back up. Teleport comes down from Expect. The Crystal Arrow missed, but Caps gets burned a little by the Equalizer. Defensive flash from Expect. Turns his attention back to Soaz. Bullet time from Mithy. That's at least keeping Caps out of the fight. Shockwave is already used. Soaz is burning down. Soaz is not going to go down. He flashes to safety. Slicing Maelstrom. Stuns Expect under the tower. Redemption. And here comes Daisy. Chasing under the tower. G2 are not done yet. Caps is getting tagged. Slowed. Knocked up. But it's the inhibitor to the focus. And G2 have opened the base. Fnatic are coming apart at the seams. The Baron empowered minions. And G2 are in the lead.
Yeah, it's only a 1-for-1, but it doesn't matter because G2's team fighting is just too strong here for Fnatic to deal with. End up getting inhib down. Source chasing, baiting a potential flash from Trick to say, hey, if I have flash, I can taunt flash you, but Source obviously didn't have it. And Amazing not able to follow up, and it has really been the story in this game here. G2 ran around the map.
Yes.
But now we get to late game and they don't care anymore because they just want to force 5-on-5s.
Jez is getting caught by the Scat of the Week. Knock up into Scat of the Week. Easy skill shots.
And then Perkz actually does flash to trade his life for it. Not always a good trade, but it gets some extra damage, and Caps just sidestepping that one. So it actually looks a little bit bad for G2 because they're missing quite a few things. But still strong enough to take down turrets and inhibs.
Team composition in favor of G2. They got their team fight, Deficio. For 30 minutes, you've been talking about how they want to 5v5. And they got a 5v5, and they got it with Baron. Which is exactly what G2 wanted. Next Dragon is going to be Elder. G2 pushing out this bottom lane. They got a lot of vision to work with.
This is risky. Expect there's no TP.
All right, Soaz going to be joining Amazing. Defensive flash from Sven. Crystal Arrow is already being used. Soaz gets a two-man taunt. Mithy dropped to about 60%. Now Trick's on the front line. In the river, there's an exchange. Caps has dropped. Perks has managed to kill him. That was in a 1v1. Now, all of a sudden, Fnatic have to run away. Perks, scatter the weak. That stuns up Soaz. He's going to be able to taunt away to safety. Soaz, the rest of Fnatic continue to run. Bullet Time just tags them up. Root Caller locks down Soaz for a few seconds, gets stunned once again. Redemption as well. Very good equalizer on the back line. Expect goes golden. The Hourglass buys time. Reckless simply cannot do enough damage or lock him down quickly enough. In short range, and G2, they're not done, Deficio. They're onto another inhibitor turret.
It looked very risky at first because there was no TP from Expect, but good kiting from Sven and the rest of G2, and they actually allowed Expect to walk from top lane to bot lane and join the fight in the end. That's another inhib down. And G2 Esports, they were tired of playing around with this cannon in the side lane, saying, you know what? Let's start playing proper team fights. Caps, without flash.
Wow, didn't even use Scatter the Weak.
As we said, like the Syndra nerf was not the biggest. Air quotes, you guys can't see it, but air quotes wasn't the biggest nerf ever.
Well, Caps 157. The Orianna pick didn't work out. The Rise ban from G2. So pivotal, so instrumental. Perks very early. Syndra was the first pick as well. And it has been significantly impactful as the game has played out.
But a lot of this comes down to that Baron from G2, where they just said, force the Baron, take the fight. Because before that, Fnatic were actually able to pull them around the map, and it was working out fine. Caps has been on a lot of pressure, because when you play, as we talked about, these 1-3-1 comps, the guy who is defending mid lane is the guy who's getting targeted by arrows, long-range stuns from Syndra. You know, Ivan is trying to get you. So everyone from G2 has been trying to get Caps because he's defending mid. And that's why he's basically always running around with no summoners, because he always has to use them defensively.
And of course, Cap's going to need to be defensive for the rest of Fnatic. 2 inhibitors down. Despite it only being a 2,000 gold difference, the map is completely blown open. G2 have got a minute for Baron, a minute for Elder, and they can pick whichever objective they want to prioritize.
And we have to look at the scaling of the champions and then add that into their gold difference and late game points with these items, because Kennen's late game as an AD carry is not very good. Ash's late game is just fine. Rumble will have a ton of damage. Syndra, we've seen her one-shot potential against the Squishies. So G2, while only being ahead in like 2k gold, in terms of the champions, will definitely be stronger.
Gonna go back to picks and bans. Ezreal and Varus, they were banned out in the second phase by G2. Fnatic opted to Zyra, Shen, Lee Sin. Have to question if a different ADC earlier in the draft, how much different the game could have been.
But we also have to highlight how effective the Kennen split push was from Reckless. So it obviously goes both ways. And Mifty, he's tried that one before.
Yeah, definitely on the wrong side of a Dragon's Rage. That's very important for Fnatic, actually, because that prevents any further push. And all of a sudden, Fnatic can continue farming up those super minions, continue buying time for the respawn. And G2 just have to be ever so careful.
I mean, Baron is alive. TP from Soaz to probably started and just force a 4v5 team fight if you are a Fnatic now.
20 seconds before Mithy comes back alive. Equalizer is available. Unleashed power. There's a GA for Soaz, who's got an extra life to play with. Reckless on the back of the Baron pit. This is going to get messy. Scatter the Weak doesn't lock anybody out, but the stun does. Sidestep from Perks. And he's in trouble. There's the equalizer coming down. Trick burning. Reckless is unstoppable. Picks up another kill. 3-man stun as Perks locks down Fnatic. Sven just spamming volleys on the side. Caps gets taken out. Expect wins the trade. Ends up being a 1-for-1.
Caps is trying too hard to make some plays here. Stay with the team. His zoning first was good, but once he got the Hourglass and the flash from Expect, just walk back and join the rest of your guys, because Fnatic were actually taking a fairly even fight near the Baron. Amazing is spotted. Now it is 35 seconds on Orianna, only 25 for Trick. Probably not enough to make huge difference, but because Amazing didn't recall yet to go with his team, there's openings for G2 to at least set up the Baron. Still gonna get more fights here. It's just gonna be so hard for Fnatic to win them.
Yeah, with Trick going down, that Magi Soul Stealer also gonna lose some of its effectiveness and efficiency. Here's a replay of that fight.
Yeah, so we have Perks actually on his own on top side, forcing Reckless back in the Baron pit, and Source gets a nice taunt onto him, but there's no follow-up instantly. Perks gets to away, and I guess Amazing is dead now.
That's so important. G2, no smite to contend with. 5v3 at best, but Reckless is backing away. Jesus isn't even going to commit for this one, and easily picked up Baron. You have to expect someone was going to ward, is the only logical thing I can think of.
But this again, remember we just highlighted with Cap stepping forward and actually ended up dying. It gave free entrance to the Baron pit for G2 to then set up the vision, forcing Amazing then to come in and have to face check to see if they're doing the Baron. So in the end, Amazing ends up dying.
Because of a decision made by a teammate much earlier on.
And you know, maybe Caps could have just walked away and G2 still would have control of the Baron pit. But him dying and being dead for over a minute obviously makes it much easier.
Okay, Reckless is a little bit on the enemy side of the territory. In that tri-bush below, no flash available, so you can't jump over the wall.
Also no flash for any of the carries on Fnatic against Rumble ulti and MF ulti is really annoying if you are a Fnatic, because you want to get in range as a cannon to sit an auto attack. If you get in range without flash, 500 things will kill you.
Such an interesting series, this one, to Fisher. We're at 40 minutes in game 3. The average game time is significant already.
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of series you want to go back, rewatch a few times and kind of review, because there's so many interesting decisions in terms of split pushing and map movements, and Fnatic in the last game went 1-4 instead of 1-3-1 and so on. Different kind of things to dissect, and also some of the picks, obviously. Ivern has been fairly effective. Yeah,
very interesting pick and ban phase and priorities from both teams. 8th tower of the game falling in favor of G2. They extend that gold lead even further. Sven's ushering the mid lane of minions back to this exposed inhibitor. And for G2, they've got around 2/3 of that Baron time available. Daisy gets thrown down, lands a little wallop onto Soaz. Very good stun. QSS has already been used by Reckless as he lightning storms away to safety. Maelstrom is just about available, but he does not want to dive in with it. Not against Elder Dragon. On the opposite side, 2 inhibitors easily secured. So now it's up to G2 to overcommit and for Fnatic to somehow deal with 4 damage threats.
Exactly, and also super minions, because G2 can just wait for those to arrive on the way from the base very soon. Still have the Baron buff, you have the Elder Drake.
Yeah.
Basically everything you are looking for here. You are G2 Esports.
Everything that you need. Expected that teleport's available. So Daisy is going to be the instant focus. That is shut down by Fnatic. Baron empowered minions plus the teleports.
And there's still no flash for these carries here on Fnatic's side, so they have to be so careful. Caps is trying to get perks down.
He is. He's already used the shockwave. He's going to back away, uses the QSS. The inhibitor tower in the top is the focus. Equalizer just to split up the team. By time. Wow, Perks gets 50% of his hit points back. Thanks to that empowered redemption, and the 3rd inhibitor falls. Athene's helping out with that heal for Trick. And now G2 gonna empower the remaining minions. It's a 5-on-5. There's no shockwave for quite a long time. And the Nexus turrets are the focus.
And G2 right now, patience. They're waiting for these super minions to pile into the base. Amazing is trying to buy some time, but still you have your buffs here if you're G2 Esports and you wanna finish this game.
Does indeed. Mythi's used the exhaust, gets a shield, Perks is shut down. That's a small advantage for Fnatic. The stun from the Maelstrom. Mythy dies in the back end. Reckless continues to put out damage. Sven's the target. Very good Ash Arrow onto Caps. That stuns him up. Following Reckless, 50% HP. Turns his attention to Expect. Trick will be the next one. GAs are popped. Sven is still untouched. Expect is alive. Trick, Sven, Expect, guiding in the minions. The first Nexus turret has dropped. Caps continues to put pressure, pulling the minions if he can. Nexus turret number 2, down to 200. Shockwave has come back up. Sven is down. The Equalizer comes back up for a 2nd time.
Oh, he gets GA as well.
And Fnatic survive for a few seconds longer.
Yeah, can they keep the tower alive? It seems like they can, because they have minions now stopping the super minions from actually hitting it. Everyone trying to defend here, and as you said, Fnatic, they're buying some time. G2 trying to finish the game. Then they got jumped. Perks ended up dying very early in this fight here, actually. Saved his flash as well. I think he realized he was just dead. Or maybe just got flash taunted. Nope, just taunt flash. Always the lovely thing about Shen. And Reckless does dive in with a very good ulti, but the damage now onto Sven is just kind of lacking for him, because he can't get it properly in range, and he gets the shield as well from Ivern, so good kiting first. Too much in the end.
I can't believe Expect managed to save that GA and stay alive the entire time.
And then he got Source's GA as well.
Ridiculous. Great performance from Expect this series. Very excited to see him continue play the split because, in my opinion, that was one of the players I really wanted to see the difference between Summer and Worlds and now, and what has happened with the team of G2.
Yeah, and I'm just excited to see more of both these teams because I think for Fnatic, like, new lineup, week 1, day 1, you play G2 esports, you take them all the way to third game, and it's been very competitive third game as well. Like, that's a great start if you're a Fnatic fan. Sure, there are things you need to work on for both teams, but this is your first game with this completely new roster. So I think actually this Fnatic lineup can be happy with this. They obviously want to win first. But
your power rankings had Fnatic quite high up there, and they
B tier with potential to become A tier during the split.
So far, showing, in my opinion, an A tier performance. Both G2 and Fnatic have a lot to clean up. There's no doubt there.
I think
been very good plays on both sides.
Yeah, again, I think actually they show
the potential.
They show the B tier performance, honestly, but they show the potential to become that A tier team later on, and I think that is perfectly fair to say about both teams.
Expect gets taunted up, but Amazing gets caught by Scat of the Week. Amazing gets a kick onto Perks, but there's no follow-up. That means Amazing is going to go down. Is going to get killed. Shockwave gets dodged by the Hourglass. Perks stays alive for a few seconds longer. It's a 5-on-4. Some of G2 are low. Redemption's been used. Nexus turret being targeted. Soez is going to decide to teleport in. That's going to keep the cannon minion alive. Buys a few extra seconds. Caps gets Perks. Manages to continue staying alive. The fight isn't over yet. Miffy, Sven, Expect, they turn their attention to the Nexus. Caps continues to pull focus. Soaz gets it dropped. No GA available to him. Jez is running for his life. This is the final fight. Miffy finally goes down. The Windians close it out. G2 take the win.
And G2 can now be very, very happy. Because they also know as a team, it's a long split. A lot of weeks to improve, fix your mistakes, and starting out with a victory over what should be the second best team in that group is important.
10 weeks of regular season play. They will face Fnatic one more time before the end of the group stage.
Week 7 is going to be that
long
match.
Time away. But as it stands, both teams putting on a great performance. Pushing the BO3 all the way. Interesting picks and bans, a lot to evaluate there. Good map play, good decision-making, some executional errors.
Exactly. I think it's a good performance for a week 1 game.
Yes.
I think that's the key thing to highlight here. Like, teams are just picking it back up. They've been scrimming a lot, but then when you get to play on stage, it's always very different than just in the scrim environment. So it takes a few weeks for teams to really perfect what they're doing on stage, or at least get closer to it. So I think for week 1, it was a very, very fun series to watch.
Such great sportsmanship as well. Both teams huge smiles despite the loss there for Fnatic. Slightly more serious looks now as G2 have backed away. And
this guy's getting high fives
really want to echo that sentiment, Officio. You know, we've come into a lot of spring splits with
a lot of spring splits
with interesting starts, right? Let's use that word.
We have never come into a spring split and seen a team play like fantastic.
No.
Beautiful, crisp League of Legends. It's never happened before.
Let's be quite frank. This series didn't necessarily demonstrate that. However,
week 1.
We were much closer to a higher level of play from what we've seen. H2K, fairly slow start, but very controlled, very coordinated earlier today. G2 and Fnatic, great moments throughout this series. That's only 4 of our 10 teams. We still have a lot more to see over the course of the weekend, and hopefully everybody's level's higher. Hopefully everybody's bringing at least this sort of baseline.
Sure.
I'm hopeful for the next coming weeks.
I mean, we can hope for the baseline. Some positives, some negatives for sure. Glad to see some new picks again. Kennen AD carry coming in from Reckless. Very unique AD carry to watch and how he's played by Reckless himself. You know, it's not the traditional one. He's not sitting in wave clearing in his mid lane.
To Fisho, I have to ask a fairly hard question. We can see Perks on your screen right there. You know, game 1, very impressive. Worked with Trick incredibly well. Games 2 and 3, a little bit more questionable. You know, game 2, not really fair because Caps kind of had his number early on. Made it more difficult. What do you think seeing him in this first series based on your expectations coming in?
I think his laning phase is where he made some mistakes.
Okay.
But I think actually outside the lane, he played really well on Syndra. If you think back to last game, also game 2 we had where he was down 0-3, he ended up actually picking 5 or 6 kills up after that and almost didn't die. And he managed to create quite a lot of picks So I think Perks can be very happy with his out-of-lane performance, but I definitely think early on that he was a little bit over-aggressive from time to time. It did cost him quite a few times, and that is definitely something for him to work on.
All right, so I touched on that. We mentioned during the game, Expect looking pretty good throughout the course of the 3 games. Definitely impressed me in terms of summer split worlds and now. Looking at Fnatic holistically, you know, they went toe-to-toe, they traded blows, they went to 50-minute games multiple times.
Yeah.
Better or worse than expected?
I think...
As expected.
I think as expected.
Okay.
Like, we knew a lot of these players would come in and be good. Like, a lot of them are very known names.
Yeah.
We personally had a lot of hype for Caps as well and what he's done, you know, in the past, and especially also from watching his solo queue games. Like, it's pretty guaranteed that this guy is mechanically very gifted. It wasn't really a big question.
Yes.
His actual performance as a team player and his movements on the map is where he makes mistakes, which is very, very standard for a 17-year-old guy coming in here playing in the LCS. So I think Fnatic played much like expected. I think we saw some really good calls and we saw some really weak calls, but that is also to expect with a completely new lineup. And that's why I think actually for a week 1 game, Fnatic can be pretty happy with it.
Got some news for you, Deficio. Jez has let the side down.
Did he?
Zyra's only loss today.
That's true.
Was Jez's.
That's
4-1. Continues to be a top-tier pick. We're seeing a short list of about 6 or so champions that we're seeing over and over and over. You know, Camille, Rengar, LeBlanc, Katarina. Most of the time they're banned, yes.
Yeah.
But the short list, the power list, not too different, you know. But all 4 teams today respecting the same picks and the same bans.
And obviously they've been scrimming each other, you know, across the last few weeks. And also we've seen LCK and LPL play, where we've seen some of these picks. And I think that just confirmed maybe a lot of it. Like, let's say Camille randomly had been opening every LCK game and done poorly, then maybe teams were judging it wrong.
That was not the case.
Definitely not the case, so that's why she remains banned for now. I do think later on we will see more trading of S-tier picks.
Yeah.
And I think the further we get into the split, the more counters gets figured out on how to like deal with certain picks.
The thing that I love is that the option to target ban, the option to get rid of a role or...
There's so much flexibility now in the pick and ban phase. Like, we saw a lot of clinching on like specific roles, AD carry for G2, over and over and over. Constantly push Reckless on either Ezreal or Kennen in the last game, which was something that proved to be very effective for them.
The biggest thing that I really liked about this particular pick ban series and how that sort of, you know, series meta evolves, both teams opted to target a specific role each game, and they didn't overlap. It was like, well, we're going to focus top or ADC, and then ADC and jungle, you know, etc. And it was just very interesting that both strategies were viable. However, one proved to be superior because the ADC focus on Fnatic, that Kennen, yes, it did great for 10 minutes of the game, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough an advantage to push everybody over the edge and pick that up. Anyways, Deficio, that's it. We are done. G2 pick up the win. We're going to head over to the analyst desk to close out the day.
Thank you very much, guys, and welcome everyone also to the post-game lobby as we round up day 1 of the EULCS Spring Split 2017 and are joined by Sven. Congratulations. First match, first victory in your first best of 3, but it seemed pretty hard fought. What are your first thoughts after that best of 3?
Yeah, I'm really happy we won the first game. It's not the best of 3 of this season, also against probably the best team in our group, besides us, of course. So I'm really happy that we won this best of 3, and it was really intense series, so a lot of emotions, and people were really happy after we won. So yeah, it's really nice.
It looks very hard fought. Before we jump into the specifics of that game, you guys already said, I believe it was Perks beforehand, well, Fnatic is waiting in the shadows to kind of jump on us. Is that assessment of Fnatic, judging off this series, correct? That they are the team that could be able to beat you if they evolve more?
They could be able to beat us, but I mean, we won today. We won't play them until the week 9, so there's a lot of like weeks to improve for them. So personally, I look forward to facing them in week 9 again, because I think they're the team to beat for us in our group. I think it's like kind of us, then them, and then the rest maybe. And maybe Misfits is like in the middle somewhere. Maybe they can be really good or not so good.
Yeah, that's also what our analyst has had as the idea of the group beforehand.
Yeah, it does look like the talent is all kind of shining individually, but their macro is still very much lacking. It feels like they were looking to me like, I won't say cheese, but like hard engages or waiting in brushes, whereas you guys were playing a very clean first game and even in the second game had more control. Did it feel like that in-game, or what were your thoughts?
I mean, Misfits has not played a match for a long time and have been in Korea practicing their macro, hopefully. But for us, I think we use most of our time right now trying to not be G2, like try to change our style to macro play and not like see champion, kill champion, or look this guy and over chasing and learning how to go back and learning how to take small victories and don't over chase. And that's like, I think, really happy to this game because we won because of macro, I think.
Yeah, one of the biggest failures at Worlds for G2 Esports was that when stuff went wrong, you guys kind of collapsed immediately. Like there's the fish that can try bush, mid lane tower is falling very soon. It is very early now, like Weldon's been there, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. Has it already had an effect on like, because even today, Perks was dying a couple times in the mid lane. Did you guys feel a different approach to dealing with these kind of upsets?
I think EU scrim culture is always, things go wrong, go FF and go next game. And I think Weldon has taught us how to play from behind, or not how to, but to do it in game. Don't FF and play from behind. And today we were behind in both game 2 and 3, I think. And we did a very good job of playing from behind. We made the games very, very long, and it teaches us how to play slow and like small victories, cut losses. Like once things go wrong, just one thing go wrong, and give up something and try to trade objectives. And I think he's doing good at helping us to get small victories here and there, like chip damage in towers, 1 kill, and then go back. And yeah.
Yeah, we just saw a little bit of B-roll of Perks, who unfortunately at Red Buff got caught out early, but as the Fisher was mentioning, he then recovered in the rest of the game. So if you can do that as a team, that is a big step forward. We want to take a look at some more replays. One of this game specifically is the Baron, where you guys did a really good job. And Crepo was praising your Ashe play throughout the whole series, especially the previous game in the Arrows. But
personally, I think if I was really good, I would have carried the game alone by arrows everywhere, but I missed so many arrows. But then again,
the other game I was
I think
about.
yeah,
This game was okay.
I think every arrow you don't shoot, you miss. So I think it's worth some time just to use it and then hope for the best. And if you miss it, it's unlucky. And then in 1 minute you have it again. So
what was it again? If you only get hit by an Ashe arrow if you don't have a mouse, or
No, that's
that's Pierce.
Okay,
Ashe arrow
okay.
is actually hittable, I think, if you're good. But I'm just not so good. But I've been playing Ashe a lot in scrims recently. I think it's more the bowling meta right now. That's all about level 6. You see Ashe, you see Balrus, you see Malzahar, you see Syra, MF.
Do you
Everything
enjoy playing against Malzahar support?
No, I don't enjoy I enjoy it like champs that I can outplay the enemy. But Malzahar is like flash, R, and sucks.
Life's over. This call in particular, sorry, I just want to start like the Iron Call with the brushes. It's really hard for enemy teams to play against. Maybe the viewers didn't quite get it because you can't control ward over. So it was actually for me the call that kind of really solidified the game for you guys. Who made it, or was it something you guys scrimmed a lot, or just using the brushes?
I think it was more of a start and Ashe, and then once they TP in or once some guy comes here, we arrow him, and if he miss, it's unlucky. But one time we hit on the Orianna with Cinderstone and Rumble, and we killed him. And then we just go for Nash with the brushes and trick calls when to stop or when to not stop and finish it and so on, or fight and stuff. So we just listen to him.
Cool. Just to wrap this up, in your pick and ban phase, you did ban out a lot of AD carries as well, and Reckless ended up on Kennen when they could have picked Ashe early. Do you think that also kind of sealed the deal for them?
Like we just banned Jhin because he's good on Jhin and it's good pick for them. And also like after that, after the first 3 picks, they decide what we ban basically because they pick those 3 roles. And we picked those 3 roles, and then we just banned the other 2 roles. And in both games, they picked AD last. So we banned 2 ADs extra after the first pick phase. And that's how it goes in most drafts for, I think, all teams, basically. And I think Kennen is a good pick sometimes. It's good going side lane and having pressure there. And I think he did very good this game at ganking both. One time, for example, got 1 tower. He was good at being annoying on the map, which is something right now ADs can't do so well because they're playing Varus, Ashe, immobile champions. So I think he did good this game.
Yeah, definitely.
But if the weak thing about Kennen is that you lose tower to Ashe Syra, like we saw in this game. You get pushed the tower and you get pressured, and then tower is gone. And if we played good this game, we would have 3 towers to 0. But yeah.
Yeah, you say Reckless put some good pressure on the map, but in the end, you guys were able to take over the game. Our analysts also voted you player of the series, so congratulations, Ven. That's the first one for you. Caps was also in the race there. He had a good showing for a rookie, but in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I just think especially the arrows in game 2. We saw you hit 2 key arrows when you guys were in base defending versus Fnatic. It's the game you guys lost, but 2 arrows went on the Caps in the middle of 5 people. Were those aimed at? Because we always assume that they were actually aimed at Caps, or were they just kind of shot slightly towards?
Yeah, it was aimed at Caps, but he was trolling in that scenario. Like he flashed in for no reason and got stunned by someone, and then I just arrowed him afterwards, and then that team fight we won if we just kill one guy and then slowly move forward, but we all chased like classic G2 style.
Yeah.
But if
the 2 kills you had,
exactly, we had 2 kills for free, and then we just had to just back out and be behind, and then we would slowly win again. But we overchased, and yeah.
And that happened. Before we move on, maybe first impressions of Caps. We were very much looking at him, of course, as a rookie on Fnatic up versus Perks. He got some good moves. He got those 2 kills on Rise in game 2 as well. What do you think of him as a player, and how strong can he be for this Fnatic team?
Oh, so this was the kill you missed, bro.
Oh, that was insane.
Yeah, so like,
pretty
Perks
crazy.
had this in the bag 95% of the time, and this guy flashes forward and forces started aggro.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see this in game, but that really sucks for Luca. Yeah, I mean, it's good. He's a good player. I think he has good mechanics, and some call him like he has a bit of a cocky play style, as in like in your face, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's really bad. But I think he overall did pretty good this game overall.
Yeah,
he's
a good start.
Highly skilled player, but he needs a good team around him with experience that can help him to become really good. You know, kind of like I had it back when I joined OG in the first time. You need players that know how to play the game from a macro point, and then they can help you not tilt on stage, like be yourself, you know.
Yeah, unlock the better players.
It really helps to have veteran players on your team as a new player, I think.
Do you think Fnatic has those players? And then
Yeah.
a follow-up question, how long does it take, the process? Is it like, depends on the player, is it like a couple of months? How fast can you become like a better macro player of yourself?
I think in my rookie split, we had Challenge Series first, and then I had maybe 8-9 months of LCS before I was actually really good. I thought in Summer Split I wasn't that good, but thanks to having Soas, Amazing, Pege, and Mithy, I had so much veteran around me that helped me with everything that was like hard. And he has the same here. I think he has 3 veterans and who's like a slight veteran in a way.
Yeah.
So I think he has everything he needs to improve. Also a good org around him. So I think they'll be a good team soon.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a very competitive best of 3 to start off the spring split. Exciting things ahead. And we also had a game, or a match rather, in Group B to start off the day. It was Origin versus H2K. I don't know how much you caught of that because she was probably traveling to the studio. But Origin didn't look as bad as we predicted, or you did.
The problem is, I think they look pretty bad, especially because H2K was also just really not that great. I mean, there were some statements of this is a top 4 Worlds team, but they changed out 3 players and they were throwing all around Baron too.
I think H2K is a really good team. They're our best swim partner together with Splice, and H2K didn't look as good today as they usually do, but I think OG looked better than people thought. I think everyone thought that they would be a relegation team, but I think today, apart from Hiva, everyone played pretty good, I think everyone showed pretty decent plays here and there, but Hiva was like slight inching it a little bit in game 1 and 2. But I think overall, OG played pretty good, I think.
Well, yeah, and the stats to prove that, interestingly, around 25 minutes. In both games, they were pretty equal. It was just after that H2K pulled the trigger. So that's a pretty good starting off point if you know that you're up against possibly the strongest team in your group.
Yeah, I definitely like the second draft a lot more. So I think OG could have definitely won that game. And maybe after a couple of weeks of LCS practice, they would have won that game. Game 1, I think, was kind of fake even because it comp with double tanks. Nothing's going to happen in the game until Baron spawns, and then H2K had all the control the entire game.
I think in this game, OG had a lot of communication issues where someone just dies randomly for no reason, like the top 2 situation where Rumble overheats in the counter gank, which is like really bad, because if he ulted on top of himself there, he would kill 2 people. And then the mid thing with Wisdom dying to the tower for no reason. So I think actually both teams are pretty good. I think OG is underrated, by people. Showing up this game at least. I think they were pretty good today against H2K. But H2K also played a lot worse than in scrims at least, which may have something to do with like them being good in scrims because they're more aggressive in scrims. But
yeah, we can talk more about H2K's potential in just a bit, but I'd like to hear it from one of their team members herself, and let's hear what Odowamne said because we spoke to him earlier this week.
I think we can secure at least semifinals as we did all these splits, because I just think that our core is really good, and depending on how well we will work with our new bot lane, I think we can go as far as finals or even winning. But I think by like summer split, and by the time we already have like almost a year together, I think we will be like maybe the best team in Europe.
He says pretty much what we expected, and then he also said, well, it depends on how good we work with our new bottom lane. So I want to ask you guys about how good you think that bottom lane is, and also if it's the communication aspect that needs to improve, because we had the impression that in those games and the mistakes, it was the fact that obviously they were speaking Korean to each other, but the calls had to be made in English at some point, but that's just conjecture, we're not sure, but it looked like it.
Yeah, I'm just a Diamond 1 Scrub Lord, so I'm going to refer to Sven on this one. How good are Nuclear and Shay?
I think they're really good. I play against them in scrims almost every day, like at least half of my week is against them and then Splice. So I think Nuke and Che are not only good players, but also smart players. And although they have no communication, I mean, not much with their mid, jungle, and top, I think they play really good together. They have like, I think they're kind of like me and Mitty. They play more for the team than for like, winning lane and stuff. But right now, bowling it's all about winning lane because first tower is win, most games at least. And I play against them every day, and I think they're really good. They have good mechanics, they have good lane phase, they have good macro overall, and yeah.
Yeah, we saw that today as well, where they're definitely serviceable in lane. But the one Baron I think that was stolen by Origin was also a communication error where Jankos had no smite. He called his team to probably stop hitting it, and the two people that actually started hitting it once Maokai went over the wall was the bot lane. So I think communication in H2K still needs to improve. But and it's a really stressful situation. Calling that, I'm sure like it took you guys a while as well to work on Baron plays.
It takes many games of free lose, like we were ahead, and then go Nash and free lose, and the next game try again. You have to try and see what works for you guys and how you do it, and you can't just expect to go scrims, do Nash, free win, go CS, free win. You have to like try it out in scrims, what works, what doesn't work, who calls what, and when to turn, when to fight, when to TP here, or so.
And your series today was like intense in terms of like, okay, they can backdoor here, and then in the last game you also had to make a lot of split-second decisions. Well, he was saying, oh, they could backdoor, but will they do it? Did you feel kind of juked?
No, we were always thinking for like 2 minutes already that they have Rise Ult, and they're standing in this brush all the time waiting for Rise Ult.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh look, this guy. And then
and
then I was screaming Rise, and I see Ezreal lines next to us. I'm like, oh no, we lost.
Well, but you had redemption in game 3.
Yeah, we were kind of in a bad spot here because we couldn't really get out of our base, and then we just tried to do something and it backfired. But the important part of the game is earlier in the game anyways, and I think we did a good job of playing from behind this game. Like we had all our towers for a long time, and we could have won that game even from behind. So.
And you made up for it in game 3. You guys took away the series. Let's take a look at the standings with our first 2 best of 3s for the year done and dusted. How that settles. The teams will be ranked by series wins, and then the game win or loss is going to break the tie in the end. So G2 Esports is 1-0, H2K is 1-0. But if you were to break the tie right now, H2K is 2-0 and G2 is 2-1. So I think they memed about that on Twitter already. So very early.
That's not how it works anymore, by the way.
No.
Yeah, they'll never be tied anyways.
No, well, I was saying if these were the teams that were tied, it would be the game win that would break it. But that is, of course, not the case
Does
here.
it feel good to play best of 3?
Yeah, it's really nice to not have a tie where you get 1 point and both are losers. So I'm really happy that you changed the format. The groups are interesting, but the main important thing is the best of 3. I really hated best of 2. It was not so nice.
It's fine. It's gone now. You can say whatever you want. It's fine.
We're
happy that you're happy, Sven.
Nice.
There we go. All right, so besides the groups and the best of 3s, we also had our first adventure into the new 10-ban system. So we're going to take a closer look at what was most picked and banned. First up, most picked champs: Syndra, Rek'Sai, Maokai, Ashe, and Zyra. Well, Zyra and Ashe were picked in every single game, and then a lot of Syndra, Rek'Sai, and Maokai. And on the other hand, the most banned champions: Camille, Rengar, LeBlanc, banned all 5 games as well. So not the biggest surprises there at all.
So there are some solo queue trends right now, like the Ziggs in the AD carry position and the Malzahar in the support position. Without giving away too much, because obviously I imagine this has been in scrims. Do you think we'll see any of them in the LCS? Ziggs or Malzahar?
Malzahar, I think, is playable, yeah. But he has many lane counters, so he's a problem before 6 because he can get lose lane before level 6.
And then first tower is very important.
And then lose tower, and then the game is not about lane phase anymore, so you can't make the flash plays so easily. But 6 is playable, but I don't like it so much. I think it's more of a, okay, mid champ is a 1v1 champ, and 6 must have wave clear.
Yeah.
So you just play 6, you get your item against mana regeneration.
Yeah, Lost Chapter.
Yeah, Lost Chapter and Morello, and then you just go mid and hold tower.
You swap your mid lane to the side lane.
And mid tower can't fall. We have 6. 6 is impossible to lose mid tower. You just stand there, press E and Q and Q and Q and Q, and then you base press R, and that's his job, I think, to just stand back and clear mid tower. Sorry.
Yeah. Really good for mechanical proficient players.
Yeah. Personally, I think in lane it's not so good because you get pushed in early game. You have no lifesteal. You don't have like the same tower last hitting ability without the AD damage. Yeah. So I don't like it so much myself, but it fits well in the level 6 meta because you can Malzahar ult or Sarah root or something, and then 6 can bomb them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in general, you guys, I know you guys practice a lot with the 10-ban system beforehand in scrims, even though you guys lose like documents before because you couldn't for real yet. But then here, how complicated is it, and how much of a change is it to your communication? And do you get caught off guard by the fact that some picks come out all of a sudden, and then you have to, well, think of, oh no, they get to ban 2 other champions? Did it become more complicated playing it on stage than where you have practiced, or was it just as trained as it was.
I think today 2 things caught us guard a little bit. Kennen pick before they picked Caitlyn last game. Not Kennen, but also their bans. I think they banned a lot of champs that we don't even play or we don't want to pick. Like we didn't want to pick Fiora or Trundle, Jace maybe, but 10 bans overall is pretty interesting. Red side always bans 3 champs, Camille, LeBlanc and Rengar, because it's like Worlds.
You don't want to give them over.
It's like Worlds, you know, when Mordekai's on Gangplank, you just ban those champs, and then in the next phase it becomes interesting because you can choose who gets screwed over by draft. So you pick mid jungle top, and they pick mid jungle AD. Then one team bans one role, and one team bans the other role, because you don't pick the same champs, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of choose what lane or what side you play for in draft by playing one lane defensive and one lane wins. So it's more interesting now, and there's more skill in draft. Once Rengar and Camille gets removed from the game, we can play draft normally again, and then I think it's a good draft system now.
Yeah, it definitely feels interesting. Do you have anything to add before we move on?
I just want to ask if the time pressure, because I believe we moved to 30 seconds instead of 45 or 50. Is that something that's catching you off guard on stage?
No, I think what caught off guard on stage was that we have this new client, and then it's like not one guy banning, but everyone banning. And then after the second ban, we're like, Euron's like, what? I'm banning? Yeah. And then we're like, what ban? But time is fine, but you do a lot of draft preparation before the games anyways, and we kind of just let Joey do the thing for us. He asked us input about lanes, like, this side matchup, is it good for you, bad for you? It's good, okay. And then he says, my draft is this, what do you guys think? And we say, it's terrible. Says,
and you pick it anyway. So
and then he says, okay, and then he changes something up, and we do drafts like Joey against Nico de Pigo, for example, on our draft board, right? And then we just talk about what is good, what is bad. And then this is the 5-5 draft with no risks and good lanes, and we choose that.
Well, super interesting. We're learning a lot here, and we have a lot more League of Legends coming this week. Tomorrow we'll be back with two fresh best of threes newcomer Misfits will be taking on the Giants, and we have the UOL versus Vitality. And Saturday we have G2 versus Rocket and Spice versus H2K as well. So Misfits, the first time we're going to see them. UOL versus Vitality. What are we thinking here tomorrow?
I mean, for me it's Alphari hype. Everybody's always like Hansama, but I'm just excited to see Alphari. What do you think?
I think Hansama has talent. He's kind of like Caps in a way that he needs someone to help him become good, you know? We didn't scream him much, but I think that Misfits is a good team, have talent, have some veterans in Ignar and, what's it called? Kakao.
Kakao, yeah. Depends which Kakao shows up, though.
Yeah, but you're still a veteran, regardless of losing or winning and playing Skyline Worlds. But yeah, I think they are a good team with talent and some veterans and a decent organization behind them, at least. So I think Misfits is like the middle tier team that is either very, very bad or very, very good, or just a middle team. Yeah. Like, I think they...
Accurate.
Right, but I think they can really easily be good or very easily be bad. Yeah. I think they will not be like just number 3.
Okay.
All right.
I think good chance they will upset everyone or the other way, you know.
Well, we'll see what they do tomorrow, and that brings the first day of the splits to a close. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Desk, Sven. Thank you, Krepo, for being in our day, and all the rest as well. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Time as the first week of the EULCS Spring Split continues. Have a great night.
It's over.
Looking down and locked him in goes Jankos. Hiva is down. First blood.
We have Shindled now, okay? I want to fight.
Wisdom gone in, but it doesn't matter. Nuclear will finish him off. Jankos. No, he's going to fall. And Nehun right after it, but it is blow for blow.
Hey guys, focus, yeah? Okay.
And over the wall goes on Amanda. He's stopping Nehun. He goes in. He gets the steal. He steps back. Nehun with the hero play. Can't see much else stopping H2K from taking this one. It's going to be the last Nexus turret. It's going to be the Nexus and a 2-0 sweep for H2K.
I drink 200 gram caffeine, so I can't find out.
And Barrow onto Caps, a seismic shot, first blood to G2. G2 Esports turn their focus to the Nexus and take Fnatic down. Gets the stun, Caps flashes forward, turns it onto Perks, first blood to Baby Faker.
Oh my god!
200 HP, leads the Meow Gun. The rest of Fnatic, they back them behind. Sven is down. Fnatic, they're going for the Nexus.
Oh my god!
Is killing the Nexus. G2 have been routed. We are going to game 3. Crazy gets dropped. Perks is pulled backwards. Soaz lands and Fnatic gets another kill. Wave Smite is up. Amazing can't use it. Not going to get the pitches yet. And Baron is picked up by G2.
It's fine, don't worry.
Soaz gets his dropped. No GA available to him. Jez is running for his life. This is the final fight. Miffy finally goes down. The Windians close it out. G2 take the win.